Hey, good morning. I'm gonna shuffle and pick a card. I just got done taking a shower. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great, and trying to keep an optimistic attitude. It helps. Try your best to be optimistic, and you know, I used to be like, oh, it doesn't work, but it works. It helps. It does help. It might not work in every situation to try to just be like stay on the lighter side of things, but it definitely helps. Um, I also want to talk more about the King of Swords. I pulled it yesterday, but I'm gonna pull the card for the day. And see what we got. What I get. But yeah, I took my shower. I feel good. I washed my hair really good, so it's like the soap locks the hair a little bit. And I never really, well, I do, but I haven't lately taken the time to really wash my hair really intensely. But today I really did, and I got a lot of dirt out. So, okay, well, the queen, no, the king of pentacles, and so it's an earth sign. It's an earth. The pentacles means like the tangible realm, money, finances, um, earth. When I think about earth, I think about the earth signs. Like me, I'm a Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus, and I don't know if there's a fourth one, but it's earth. So at least in the symbolism, because I don't really know, it's a man and he's like in a garden and the plants are like growing over him. And then it has the symbol of the bull, which is Taurus, and on his throne. And then it has a castle in the background. So what I'm thinking is a guy who's really stable and like grounded. Um, yeah, very. That's the thing about earth signs, and I love it because I used to feel this way, but now I don't want to be so grounded. Like I used to try so hard to like create stability, and because I worked so hard to create stability, it stopped me from doing things that I wanted to do, and mainly is because I was basing the stability on like maturity, being an adult, and people's ideas of me, because I was like, if I just do all this, then people might think I'm just being irresponsible and stupid and stuff. But it was like really what I wanted to do. But as far as like I'm thinking like a man who's really stable. So I'm going to look up more interpretations in just a bit. So. Hey, continuing just went to the park. I washed clothes and stuff. So the King of Pentacles is a guy who's good at financing, his finance. He's good at managing his money, I suppose making money as well. But he also is, strangely, I would think he'd be like maybe more selfish, but he's generous. He wants to help others with their endeavors and like finance. What it made me think of like a dad who is really good at like leading the family and is good at like being responsible, but maybe detached in other ways. And I guess the king would be upright, would be like I guess balanced, but it just made me think of that person, that archetype. Maybe he's not that aware of things, but he's really good at like paying the bills and helping out other family members when they need it, but may not be that involved in other ways. Maybe he's busy working, I don't know. Or maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I kind of like, yeah, somebody who's really good at that, but is also generous and wants to help others. It could be an older man, and it could be something that you need, like it could mean something that you need to be, or it's something that you're going to be. I also gender the cards, though it could be a woman as well who's with this energy of just very good at managing things. It won't be. I mean, even though they might appear, because this is Earth, like they might not appear to be very emotional. The emotions are like within, so they are very emotional, but it might not appear to be that way on the surface. And it also made me, because yesterday I pulled the sword, the King of Swords, and I see the difference, but it's also like hard to see the difference because the King of Swords was also someone who was very like led by their intellect, and because they're intellectually like very driven or capable, that it made them a good leader. But the King of Pentacles, I would think that it would be very like intellectual. Though they said the career was more like, I think, like a doctor, where the King of Swords is more like a lawyer, a writer. So I guess, yeah, that is, different. But I had more of a feel for the King of Pentacles, like, and maybe because I'm a Virgo, and just somebody who's very disciplined and wants to like be be build up their strength and be, they're good at their finances. So it made me wonder, like, well, if the King of Swords is more intellectual, are they good at finances, or like, does that also mean they're good at financing? Because if that's like a strong trait in the Pentacles, which I guess you could be. And one thing with the being good at saving money, like living like this, I am very good at, like, I feel like as far as like as now, I've been really good at managing my money. Where I never thought I was, and I always stayed on top of like my business, even though I was like struggling or like I never had much money. I always made sure everything that needed to be taken care of was taken care of, and I still like kind of maintain that. The biggest thing that I have to take care of is my phone bill, but I also don't want to be stuck in a city that, I just don't want to be stuck. I always want to be sure I could get back to New York if I need to get back to New York. So I'm just managing my money so that won't be a situation. But as a child, I just blew through money, and like I said, as an adult, I always was able to take care of my business, but I just never had extra money, or I was never able to save. And right now, I'm like not really saving up, but I'm just like just spending very cautiously and making money whenever I can make money, like as far as selling my art. Where I am around a lot of people who blow through money, so I can see like there is a difference. And it's not so much that it's not hard for me because I don't really have like really too many vices as far as drinking or like drugs or cigarettes or anything. I like my psychedelics, but I don't do it all the time because I just can't. I can't do that all the time. I can't. But as far as drinking and smoking cigarettes, that's not a problem for me. So, or buying clothes, which I'm not really around people who buy a lot of clothes, but I am around a lot of people who do buy a lot of cigarettes and alcohol, and I can see like they don't, like, if they get money, that's where it's gonna go. Not everybody, but a lot of people, and or neither to food, which is understandable. So, yeah, I'm gonna look at more things and then I get back. But okay, some of the symbolism. So he holds a scepter, and then he holds the globe with the pentacle. So that's like his mastery. The grapevines represents the harvest. So the fruits of all his good hard work, and the crown, I forget, but the Taurus represents hard work as well and stability. And it does make me think of like the Virgos and Taurus and Capricorn. Though it's not many that have been in my life, but the ones that are very reliable, uh, stable in a way, even though they all are very different. Um, and but yeah, very, you can count on them. They're dependable. Um, so yeah, and then anything else? Let me come back with some. Okay, closing it up. So yeah, just a practical energy. Reverse. This person, they might have the wealth, but they're using it like how upright is like they have the wealth and they want to help people and they want to help other people obtain what it is they want to do. This one, reverse, is like they have it, but they use it against people, maybe to manipulate people, or like hover it over people. Could be somebody who's like flashy, showing off, may not even have the wealth, but they want to appear to have wealth. um Making bad investments. Like, I don't know, I just recently like been hearing about a lot of people in the entertainment industry, how they might look like they have a lot, but they don't, or they make bad investments and they lose everything, like they're not paying their taxes and stuff. Um uh yeah, it's just someone, I guess, who's very flippant about the wealth, just not really like managing it very well. So, or just showing off and flashy. Yeah, so I hope that helps. I resonate with the card, like I said, really well, and makes me think about the earth signs in my life, the male earth signs mainly. I don't really have too many female earth signs in my life. Well, I do have one. Yeah, a Capricorn for right now, and yeah. So, all right. Hope you have a good one. And this is added on. So I wanted to talk about the King of Swords. So yesterday, when I made the video, I did say like I don't feel like I resonate with the card that well. Only when I feel like I'm being manipulated or taken advantage of. And depending on how I'm being manipulated or taken advantage of, I tend to like need to cut it off or allow it to happen, depending on the person. Like if someone's asking something of me what it might feel like a bit too much, as long as they're giving in return, I might allow it to happen. But if someone's just asking for things from me and they're not really offering anything, and it's obvious like they just want what it is they want, then I'm good at like setting that boundary. I'm not gonna be rude about it, but I'll see them for who they are, and then I'm just like trying to be very like short with them, and just I'll keep my friendliness, but I'm just like, okay, yeah, like I won't. I try to like disengage as much as possible, as polite as possible, because I can see like they just want to get what they can from me. And so what happened yesterday, it could have something to do with the card, and we'll see if today I put the King of Pentacles, so we'll see if anything happens. But somebody did come, and it wasn't very. It was a guy who I've seen a lot, and he was cool. He came by on the scooter while I was like on my phone doing my crafts and stuff, and he spoke to me. And I was hanging down in the creek, and down the walkway were like a group of houseless people, and they were hanging out. Now, when the guy on the scooter came and he started chatting with me, one of the guys from the houseless group came towards us carrying like a big wooden board on his back, and he asked us both like where was the skate park, and he said he knew where it was and he knew that he could walk the creek from there, but he wanted to know how far it was. So now, even when I'm saying this, that was also a way to just get in, like, and I admire people who are like that, because there's a lot of times where I was like, I would like to open up, and the way you would open up might be like kind of corny or like kind of lame, like maybe asking someone a question you already know or something like that. So he knew where it was and he knew how to get there, but for some reason he wanted to know how far and how long it was gonna take. Like, what does it matter, if you know? So he did that to get into our conversation and get into the what was going on. Now the guy who was already there on the scooter, he likes to talk, and he's always been like generous, though I only took like a cup of coffee from him, but other than that, he's offered me a place to stay, and he offered to hang out with me, and he said he understands because he used to be homeless, and he understands like maybe even choosing it because he wanted to travel when he was like younger, but they both were younger than me. I don't know how young the guy on the scooter was, but the guy who engaged like made his way into our conversation, he was like 23 or like 20, but he was a big guy, and he looked older, but he didn't look old. He just looked like an old 20 something year old. Like he it was a handsome guy with like big blue eyes and like good looking, and he looked old, but he didn't look like that old. So he started talking. Long story short, he was telling like not a sob story, but he was in a predicament where he was kind of like stuck for a little bit, and he was trying to figure out like how to get to Chicago in a few days. And but he's been traveling along with the band, like I guess a Grateful Dead type of situation, and they've been traveling places, and they went to Cincinnati or something, and it's hot there, so he didn't want to go down there, so he wanted to stay in Denver. And the guy that was on the scooter, he offered to give him some money, but the guy was like, no, no, I don't want any money. And he came up with like he has his ways of getting things that he wants and all this stuff. So long story short, like it was very much about like they were chopping it up, and I was like, I'm not very extroverted, but they seemed to be, and had a lot to say, and they were talking about the same thing, but it didn't really seem like either one of them cared about what the other one had to say. Maybe the guy on the scooter cared more about what the other guy was saying, but the other guy didn't really he seemed to just want to put in his input, and the other guy on the scooter also seemed like he just wanted to add their 2 cents into this idea. And I'm listening, and I understand like where they're coming from about what they were talking about, which was like a law of attraction and manifestation, and not trying to pursue things, but let like you attract things. So if you chase something, it'll go away, but if you allow things to be drawn in, is how you obtain things. And I'm rambling, but the guy on the scooter kept on saying he had to go to the restroom after a certain point. He had to go to the restroom really bad, and the guy, and I wasn't saying much, so he was free to go, but the other guy kept on like bringing him back in, and it was like, to me, it was like kind of selfish, because this person saying I have to go use the restroom, and you're just like, oh, and another thing, and da, 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 da. And so when the guy went to go to use the restroom, I was like, oh shit, nah, this guy's left with me, and so then he asked, the thing about me doing art came up, because the guy on the scooter knows I do art, and he was like, well, you want to do my portrait, because I offered. And so when he left, the guy was like, oh, do you have any art? And I was like, no, I don't really have any, but do you have any on your phone? So he was like, yeah, I have some on Instagram. So he saw my Instagram, but it was really just a ploy to get on Instagram. Then he asked, could he log into his Instagram to check his messages? So then I was like, yeah, but just log out. And because I was like, I'm not good at logging out of people's stuff. When they do that, it messes, like I start getting messages and stuff. So just make sure you log out. So he tried to log in, but he didn't know how to do that. And then he was asking for my password. And I was like, well, I don't feel comfortable with that. And so he's like, oh, okay. Well, do you mind if I try to contact this girl who lives in the area on yours, your messenger or whatever? And I was like, all right. So he tried to call her twice. Then he wanted to use my tarot cards. Then he brought up when the other guy had offered him money, he was like, oh, well, now I kind of regret turning down that money. So to me, it was like trying to see if I was going to offer him money now. So it was just very, like he was just very underlying like a user, and I could see like that's his way of getting through the world. And he played out, there's one situation that he was like being very generous, but it wasn't really being generous. It was that he pretty much stole some food. He went to a restaurant, and people said this order was ready, and he came forward as the person that was supposed to receive the order, and he got 5 bags of food, on this order, and dumb like the people at the restaurant didn't check like if he had the receipt or like if he had any type of information to say like this is actually the person who's receiving this order, but they just gave him the food, which I was like, if it was me, they probably were like receipts. It's like, so they gave him the food, and then he said he went to the skate park and handed out the food for like weed and alcohol. So he's a person who gets through the world that way, and it was so many red flags, and everything was very like based on like just nothing he said had any weight. It was just like if it happened, it happened, you know. And he was basically that's like how he got through the world. And so as when I think about this card, when things like that come about, I am very kind of astute about it, and it's not that I don't get taken advantage of and taken, like maybe especially when I was younger, especially with older people, because I always thought older people would have my best interest in mind, but sometimes when it was older people in my life, they would just do it as well. And so I don't know, whoever might watch this one day, like if you're young, don't, you know, I hope that that doesn't happen to you, that you just assume like an older person will have your best interest, because sometimes older people will take advantage of younger people, knowing that you trust them and that, you know, you're looking for that guidance, and you know, they'll take advantage of that. And so that happened to me a few times, and maybe now that I'm older, I'm just maybe able to catch it quicker. But yeah, definitely when stuff like that happens, I'm very on it. I won't be outright about it, like, hey, you doing this and you doing that, and you just, you know, come on. But I might make facial expressions, and then I'll also just become very distant, and I also just try to lower my engagement so they won't be like, I won't entertain it and like keep them in my presence, so they'll eventually like walk off. But I was just thinking, like, in other people's cases, a person like that might be very detrimental, because they might be charmed by that. Though it didn't seem very charming, it seemed very usury. Though he was a good looking guy, I'm sure some people will buy into it and be like, oh yeah, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. And maybe it won't be bad for some people, but some people might, you know, give so much to this type of person that, you know, they be like, damn, like, you know, what did I get in return, you know? Or some people might be able to be just that generous, but I just don't have the means to like give to a person like that. And then I also feel like it's very a waste almost, because they're gonna get what they gotta get. It might not be from me, but it'll be from somebody, because that's just how they work in the world. And it makes me question by being generous, because it's like people play that game, you know. And I like to be generous to people who don't really ask. Like if I see you need it and you didn't ask, like I'll give. But if you ask for it, I might still give. But then that's to me a little bit of a red flag. Like you. Like, and I know they say like a closed mouth don't get fed, but some people, that's their main means of getting by, is just asking another person. And especially like, why would you ask someone who's in the same situation that you're in? Like if you're gonna ask somebody who appears to have, not somebody who. And then he also was like, oh, you have a phone and you have a portable charger. Oh yeah, you're set. And then I think that gave him like the inkling to ask for more. And it really pissed me off when the guy offered and he turned it down, but then he brought it back up when the guy left, like, oh, I wish I had taken that money. Like, and then it was like, well, I'm supposed to give you some money, or are you trying to like, I don't know, what was that about? So I just found it very disgusting. I was like looking forward for him to go away, and then he wanted to use my tarot cards, so he pulled the world reverse, and then the world reverse, he looked up the meaning in the Rider Waite Smith like little pamphlet book, and it was like somebody who was just being lazy and sitting around and stuff. So he was like, "Oh well, I guess that's telling me to go." And I was like, "Oh yeah, well, all right, bye." And so he left. He's like, "Yeah, I listened to the car." I was like, "Okay, bye." And I just like, was phony as fuck and just like, "All right, yeah, all right, bye, have a good one." And so, yeah, so that's one thing. I guess that was my king of the sword, king of the sword, like being able to cut through the bullshit as far as that. And yeah, like I said, like that's one thing. Like I don't know, like attracts like though. I guess people who do connect with people like that are also in that same type of energy. But me, I'm just like if they don't get away, I'm gonna get away from them because I'm just like, no way. Anyway, because this I gotta be safe. I gotta protect myself. I can't be out here. Like even if I did get stuck, I just feel like that's my biggest fear is getting stuck. But I just know I'll never be stuck because I'll figure something out. Like some people like I got stuck here for 3 years and it ain't gonna be me, but I know I'm not gonna fool around with people who might potentially get me kind of stuck in some sort of situation that I don't want to be in. So I'm quick to cut that. So anyway, have a good one. All right.